Hi, this is a video about fake news presented by me, Harol Gomez, and my teammates Melisabel González and also Marcela Delgado. Now, we know the speed which with which information spreads now has created the ideal conditions for a phenomenon known as circular reporting. What is this? Circular reporting, it's when, for example, let's say my name is A and I read something, an information called B, or let's say B is someone else that wrote something. I read this information, and then me, A, I go to the internet and then cite the information that I read on B, and then I create a chain where this information, this false information, is going to spread all around the internet or all around the people. I don't have to publish it. I just have to talk about this with, for example, my friends or my family. So then this is going to be going on and on and on until everybody knows this false information. Now we know that, for example, user generated content such as wikis are also a common contributor to circular reporting, which we just talked about. What is this? This is an unverified fact in a wiki page that can make its way into a published article, for example, and that might later be added as a citation for the very same wiki information, making it much harder to debunk. This is the problem about circular reporting. We don't know when the false information started, and now we don't know how to delete it. So it is essential to know about fake news because they can create many things. For example, they can influence how people make decisions, they can lead to confusion, they might create generalized mistrust, so people don't know who or what to believe anymore. And finally, if we are misinformed, how can we understand how can we understand the world around us?
Okay, so let's keep talking about fake news. First, we are going to talk about engagement farming. Engagement farming refers to tactics used by content creators to boost interactions on their post. These interactions include likes, comments, shares, and follows. The goal is to increase visibility and reach a wider audience. For example, you may see posts that ask questions, run polls, or share controversial opinions to spark debate. This method is particularly prevalent on platforms like Instagram, Twitter, and TikTok. These algorithms reward high engagements with greater exposure. Common tactics include clickbait headlines, emotional appeals, and interactive content like tag a friend or comment your favorite. While these can be effective for growing an audience, they have often prioritized sensationalism over substance, potentially leading to the spread of misinformation and superficial content. Now, shifting gears to the trend wife trend. Trad wife stands for traditional wife, and it's a lifestyle movement that advocates for a return to traditional gender roles, where women focus on homemaking and supporting their husbands. This trend has gained traction on social media platforms like Instagram, YouTube, where women share content about cooking, cleaning, and family life. The appeals of the tradwife trend can be attributed to several factors. Some women find fulfillment in traditional roles and seek a sense of community with like minded individuals. Others are drawn to the aesthetic of a simpler, more domestic lifestyles, which contrast with a modern career pressures. However, it is important to note that this trend has sparked controversy as critics argue that it perpetuated outdated and restrictive gender norms. Interestingly, the tradwife trend itself can be seen as a form of engagement farming by promoting a lifestyles that spark strong opinions and discussions. Content creator within this niche often generate significant engagement. Posts may elicit supportive comments from followers and critical responses from detractors, both of which boost the content's visibility. So, while engagement farming is a strategy to increase online visibility, the tradwife trend showcases how specific lifestyle movements can captivate and engage audiences. So, let's keep talking about fake news.
Now, one of the things that we must learn to distinguish is fake news, misinformation, and disinformation. Fake news is one of the phrases of the moment. It has been used to describe everything lately, from political spin to pranks to conspiracy theories, even to media outlets that politicians don't like. Fake news are actually lies and propaganda told for a political or a commercial purpose, which deploys digital technology, social media, and news networks to go viral, in that way, reach around the world and influence millions of people very quickly. They are completely made up stories disguised as news. Now, mistakes can be made, or sometimes you might be reading a story and the headline could be misleading, or a photo in that could have been changed in some way. These stories are not called fake news, but they are misleading in some ways. Rumors, spins, satire, and mistakes are not considered fake news. Satirical articles that are formatted or to resemble real ones can also be picked up by outlets not in on the joke. For example, we have this example as the energy expenditure in adolescents playing new generation computer games. This has been referenced in serious science publication over 400 times. That's why researchers says we need to stop it. We need to stop using those words and instead say misinformation or disinformation. So disinformation is defined as the deliberate creation of false information to mislead people. So this has a purpose to be fake and to mislead. And misinformation is the act of sharing information without realizing it is fake. But with this sharing of this information, it can have real consequences. For example, an example of misinformation is that misleading social posts that were shared in 2017 encourage Haitian asylum seekers to try and cross into Canada from the US from some WhatsApp messages that said in Canada that Canada had invited all Haitian nationals in the US to apply for residency. It wasn't true, but people facing possible deportation back to Haiti, for that people, that was something they wanted to hear, so they believed it.
So, how do fake news work? Ads placed by services like Google Ads, which act as intermediaries between advertisers and small time publishers like creators of fake news websites, negotiate how much ads cost and manage payments from advertisers to publishers. Those ads follow people wherever they go online. Advertisers and these ad services create blacklists of sites they won't advertise on, but it's hard to keep up. Sometimes they pop up on fake news sites that haven't been discovered yet. The publishers of fake news websites make money through the traffic created by advertisements. And why do people share fake news? Researchers say there are multiple reasons people share fake news. Some are just sharing stuff that they agree with, some are deliberately making trouble. Others just don't know what they're sharing is false. It has been shown that a single prior exposure to a fake news headline increases later belief in that headline, regardless of whether the person remembers having seen it before or not. What makes the current phenomenon or disinformation different from the past is how quickly it spreads from one platform to another and how easy it is to produce. We've never had a means by which anybody can create fabricated content really easily. Anybody could set up a website today with any sort of domain and use very clever photoshopping techniques to manipulate an image. Okay, so to wrap this up, let's make some concluding remarks. Recent advances in communication technology have had immeasurable benefits into breaking down the barriers between information and people. But our desire for quick answers may overpower the desire to be certain of its validity. And when bias can be multiplied by millions of people around the world nearly instantaneously, more caution is in order. News organizations, journalists, and social media platforms all have a role in preventing the spread of disinformation. Avoiding sensationalist media, searching for criticisms of suspicious information, and tracing the original source of a report can all help slow down a lie. To prevent falling for misinformation, be skeptical of what you see online. Read the whole article. Sometimes the sensational headline doesn't match the body of the article. Ask yourself, is the author or organization familiar to you? Are they reputable? Are other reputable outlets reporting the story too?